Eagles. Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Wednesday edition of Birds 365. It's Thanksgiving week, everybody. This will be our last full show until after Thanksgiving. So we'll have no full show tomorrow. So for those who check in tomorrow morning, we will do, I think we're going to do, John, like an hour special where I'll do you for 30 minutes, maybe, and Sills for 30 minutes. But it will not be 8 to 10 a.m. We will crank out just some minor things here, get something up on the channel for all the people to get the updates on the Eagles, and then we will do.
I don't know how many of I'm going to be remote, so just to let you know.
Oh, today you're remote?
No. I'm going to be in Lancaster tomorrow.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll text about it
Yeah.
All right. Well, enjoy your Thanksgiving. Appreciate everybody being here. It's a Thanksgiving week. I hope everybody has a nice, beautiful Thanksgiving. It's Edge Rusher Day here, Johnny Mac, on Birds 365. Brandon Graham goes down, and the Eagles start throwing darts. What do we know about the people that were brought in? A couple guys with some production, but who knows what they'll be for the Eagles. What'd you make of the moves that the Eagles made yesterday?
Actions speak louder than words. I asked Nick in his virtual press conference about, if he's comfortable with what's left. Because remember, it's not only Brandon Graham, that's the biggest one, but it's also Bryce Huff. So multiple injuries at the position. And he said, as you would expect, that he was confident with Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt and what they had in-house, but how he would overturn every rock to try to get better. And the Eagles claimed Charles Harris on waivers from the Carolina Panthers. Veteran guy could probably hold you down, get you some snaps. First round pick way back in 2017. Never lived up to that billing, obviously. His best year was in Detroit, 2021, 7.5 sacks. It's back before the Lions were the Lions that we know now. And he was playing a little bit in Carolina because DJ Wanham was hurt. DJ Wanham came back, and they waived him when they claimed a different player from Minnesota. And the Eagles got him, and which is not necessarily an indication that it's a big deal, because when the Eagles claim a player, they're very low on the wire. So that means a bunch of teams passed Charles Harris on this. So it's not even necessarily like they think they're going to get the player. So they'll bring him in, take a look, and certainly they've done that already with Teron Jackson. They brought him back on the practice squad. They signed O'Shawn Mathis to the practice squad. They made it official with KJ Henry to the practice squad. They worked out Malik Reed, who has a history of with Vic Fangio. So they are going to roll through these players and see if anybody can help them. And the more dart throws you have, the better chance you have to hit the bullseye. But yeah, Harris is going to get the most notable because he's played before. They claimed him. But again, they're so low on the waiver wire. The Eagles claim players in there, could be they don't even expect to get them. Now, in this indication, they may have expected to get him. So you never know. But it could be Charles House, could be Teron Jackson, could be KJ Henry, O'Shawn Mathis, Malik Reed. They might bring him in. It's not a good situation.
No, it's not. It's one of the biggest things that the Eagles fans, obviously the team has to keep their eye on here, because, John, this is what we talk about. This is football. You get to after Thanksgiving, and it becomes no longer just about the X's and the O's and even really the Jimmies and the Joes. It's about the war of attrition, and it becomes a big part of the game. And you keep using that Doug Peterson line, which I keep hearing that line replay in my head. It's not about one injury. It's about multiple injuries at the same position. And even when you lose a guy who's been unproductive like Bryce Huff, it has a big effect. Now, Charles Harris, the guy that the Eagles claimed yesterday off waivers, he's having an okay season. I know he's in Carolina. He's had 3 sacks this year. He's got 21 tackles. He's got 19.5 sacks in his career his career dates back to
First round
2017.
pick, by the way.
Yeah, so he's a severely
That's not good.
underperforming
That's
for a
not good.
first-round pick. But, John, we are at a point where we need a guy who can play snaps. Like, literally, we need a guy who can play snaps. I think he can be that just based on looking at the stats. I don't know a whole lot about the player. Is that fair to assume he's going to get some reps here with the limited players they have at that position?
As I said, I don't think he's a veteran, so he's ahead from that standpoint. He's played obviously in the past, pretty significantly compared to the other guys. So if you got to roll somebody out quickly, I still think Teron Jackson's probably your best chance because he knows the system. He's been here in the past and now he's back. So that's number one. He would be number two, because he's played significant playing time in the NFL before to get you 10, 15 snaps in a particular game. But yeah, I mean, stats are so meaningless when it comes to edge rushers. 3 sacks on Carolina. I mean, Carolina's the worst team in football. They released him. He's tied for their lead in sacks, I believe. If you look at the number, PFF, there's 114 edge rushers this year, played enough to be ranked. He's 100. Not playing at a high level.
Yeah.
You don't go on waivers if you're playing at a high level, especially.
I mean, look, that was the first question. People were like, "Oh, he's got 3 sacks this year." I'm like, "Okay, then why was he released?" Right?
Yeah, exactly. Especially on a bad football team.
Yeah, exactly.
So again, he's a veteran player. He knows how to play. He can give you some snaps. Are they going to be effective snaps? Probably not. Are they going to embarrass you? Probably not. And maybe that's the best you can hope for.
Yeah, I think we are at a point here with this position, though, where we're going to need a guy who can do that. It doesn't have to be the most productive in the world, but we need a guy who can go out there and at least fill the void that is there right now. A lot of eyes, John, set on Nolan Smith now and Jalix Hunt, but mainly Nolan Smith, who was.
Yeah, and I think too many pass over the second part of that. I really do, because most of it's on Nolan Smith, no question about it. But even if Nolan Smith performs, they need Jalix Hunt to perform too. Because Josh Sweat, we've already seen Josh Sweat, very good player, but he wore down with a career high snaps last year. And if that starts ramping up, you might have a similar situation. Nolan's never played major snaps, and he might have to now.
Right.
And with his size, that could become a problem. So you're going to need Jalix Hunt to take significant reps. That's why, Brandon clearly was playing better than Bryce Up, but the Bryce Up injury is big as well because now you need 2 players to step up. And arguably 3. And at least Nolan Smith has the talent to perhaps do it. Jalix Hunt, we don't know. It's sort of an unfinished, maybe throw him in the deep end of the pool and he's great. And, but there's the alternative as well, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And again, you see all the darts that Howie Roseman is collecting, just trying to find somebody to give him 15 snaps maybe in a game.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. I want to thank everybody for being here this morning. A Wednesday edition of Birds 365. Moving right along, everybody. Getting ready for Week 13 in the NFL. Thanksgiving, a couple of games on Thanksgiving, I think 3. And then there's also a Black Friday game.
That Black Friday game ain't going to be a good one.
No, what is it? Chiefs and Raiders? Yeah, Chiefs and Raiders. Not too good there. And then you got the Cowboys and the Giants. Oh, my goodness. On Thanksgiving. So, but there's some other good games on this weekend. Again, happy Thanksgiving. Thanks everybody for being in here this morning. I want to give an update. Our Jersey winner yesterday. Now, John, the rule is, if you don't know, the rule is I picked a winner in the wheel, the random winner, and they have 24 hours to claim the prize. Everybody to this point has claimed the prize.
Uh-oh.
Well, our winner yesterday has not claimed the prize yet. So will there be another drawing if we get to 10 a.m. and the jersey is
Ooh,
not claimed?
that's a bad job by that
I hate
winner.
to say it, Nello was our winner, but you're out of here. So we will do that, and I will be monitoring that. So stay tuned to all of our members. We could be doing a new drawing for the
It's a
jersey
busy
giveaway.
week, man. It's a busy week.
I know,
Thanksgiving, people got a
look,
lot of things to do.
yeah, I don't know. I almost feel bad for him, but listen, the rules were the rules, and they were established, and he's might be missing out. We will see. He's still got an hour and 46 minutes. We will see.
I feel bad for him now, but yeah, rules are rules.
Yeah, rules are rules. I hate to do it to you, Nello, but the rules are the rules. I want to thank everybody for being here. Make sure you guys hit that like button. We have a good show planned. We'll have Mike Gill and we'll have Brandon Lee Goutwin in hour number 2. So Mike Gill coming up in about 5 minutes. Good stuff there. Johnny Mac, I think Jalix Hunt is ready to at least – I know we haven't seen much from him, and I know he's a project player, but I've been – I don't want to say pleasantly surprised, but I don't think he's been as bad as we expected in terms of we thought he was going to be a total project. He's been out there. He's made a couple plays. He had the strip sack, the one game, and now he's going to have a way increased role. Now the question is his body prepared for it? I'm not sure about that. Going from Houston Christian to the NFL is no small feat, but we will see what ends up happening there.
Yeah, a lot of unknown with Jalix Hunt.
Yeah, that's the
obviously,
problem.
he's got physical gifts. You know, I brought it up in that Dallas game. I thought it was interesting that, you know, Vic Fangio put him in there as a run defender. We're all talking about him as a pass rusher. And again, whether you want to talk about Vic Fangio looking at players and he sees something else, and he held up pretty well in that game with, I think he had played 25 snaps, something of that nature, but it was all early downs, first and second down. So, yeah, that's a big we'll see. He's got talent. There's no doubt about that. He's ahead of the game from an edge, run support standpoint. Ironically, probably behind the game as a pass rusher. Needs to develop that complementary move to better help his equipment. And he admitted that. He said, you know, I can hold down the edge when all I add to my bag, his pass rushing bag, he meant, any other guys can do it. Now, at the time, Brandon Graham was still healthy and Bryce Hupp was still playing minimal snaps, but, you know, because of his injury, but he was still playing snaps. Now it's a whole different ball game. He's got to help as a run support player and a pass rusher. And he's played, I'll look it up real quick, a total of 66 snaps on the season, defensive snaps. So, you know, yeah, the Eagles have played 11 games. I'm not, math is not my strong suit, but I can tell you that's 6 snaps a game. That ain't a lot.
Right.
And most of them are in one game. So a lot of unknown with Jalix Hunt.
Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening there. And then the other guy, obviously, is Nolan Smith, first-round pick last year. I think he was, what, 30th or 31st overall?
30th
pick
overall
in the draft. So, you know, I was out on Nolan a little bit earlier in the year where I'm like, boy, I don't see it. But he started to show some things, John. He's going to have a bigger role to be able to showcase what he can do. You think he's able to step up to the challenge, at least to some extent? I'm not expecting the same production as what Brandon Graham was giving, but just an extent where it's not a major liability. Do you think that could happen or what?
I don't know. I'm most concerned about, you know, his size and holding up, because he's going to have to play more. You know, he's played quite a bit. I mean, Brandon's played 311 snaps. Nolan's played 299, so they're both in the same realm. But now, because of what's happened and because, you know, the uptick, Josh Sweat's got to go up. Everybody's got to go up. Jalix, we talked about. Nolan, we talked about. And hopefully you can find that fourth guy. But But in theory, the top three are going to have to go up pretty significantly. And then the aspect is like teams are worried about Brandon Graham more than they're worried about Nolan Smith. And they don't, at this stage, and hopefully Nolan changes that, teams aren't game planning for him. Now that they know he's going to be out there, they might start game planning for him.
And then your life comes a little harder when they're game planning for you.
And this is a week where you're going to have the best running game you're going to face by a wide margin. And, they happen to have a 240. It's funny how the NFL works, man. Right when you're having an issue, it seems like your next opponent can take advantage of that issue. And at least on paper, you can't set the edge. Baltimore's going to take advantage of that.
Yeah, and it's hard to set the edge when you're that size. We will see how it all plays out. Should be good to see. And John, this is a two-sided problem. It's a multi-sided problem. But the two main sides are, one, you got to replace the production, which we just talked about extensively. Who's with Jalix and Nolan and Charles Harris and whoever else the Eagles throw at the dartboard. I'm also worried about Josh Sweat because he's your number one edge. Last year, he struggled with a major increase in snaps. Now you don't have major rotation, and you're getting into that later half of the year. Is he going to have too many snaps? Is he going to be less productive? Because, I think Josh Sweat's a great player, but remember, he had that catastrophic injury early in his career. I think he's better off on a more limited snap role. Do you think this will affect him a lot?
Well, we're going to see. The Eagles have done a good job. Josh has had a very good season, and they've done a good job handling his workload. And now it's going to have to go up. And you mentioned last year, and he went from his career high was 694. And then he went to 875. That's a big leap. And right now, he's at 429, and they were back in the 650, 700 range. And he's performing at a high level. And if you have to go up to that level he was playing at in 2023, where he wore down, that could be a concern. But hey, Josh is a good player. I don't worry about Josh. He might not get the credit, and you're muted.
Yeah, I'm just worried because it's all on him now, John. It's like, hey, man, we need you to be as productive as three players, for crying out loud.
And even last year, I thought his he slowed down from a sack standpoint. And that's all anybody looks about. We talk about with Charles. Well, he's got 3 sacks. Well, who cares? Chris Long talks about that all the time. What are they? Did you walk into them? Is it because of Jalen Carter? There's a lot of context to each individual sack. Sometimes they're real, sometimes they're not. Josh Sweat by far had a career high in hurries and pressures and things like that. He had a very good season last year. And he'll continue to play well. But do they have the people in support?
Right.
That's the question. I don't worry about Josh Sweat a little bit.
Well, good. I'm happy to hear that. Good stuff there. Thanks, everybody, for being here this morning. Pile Driver Outdoors checks in and says, tell BG I'll donate my triceps. I ain't effing around. How you going to do that when you're holding that big fish, Pile Driver? You need that tricep, my friend, but BG will take it. Now, John, we did an honorary jersey yesterday. We did a main jersey. We did a main jersey for Saquon, and because Saquon went off so much, I felt the need to do something. And instead of giving away another Saquon jersey, which, by the way, are sold out everywhere because the dude just keeps going off, the NFL shop just keeps selling them. We gave away a BG jersey to someone who was present, and Pile Driver was our winner. So, Pile Driver, congrats on your win, man. Thanks for being back in here on Birds 365. Let's get to our commercial break. I want to thank everybody again for being here. Hit that like button. We'll be right back in 3 minutes with the great Mike Gill coming up next on Birds 365.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily. Only